Yay! Hi everyone! Okay, welcome back to Waking Up with Kandy, a place where we listen while others come in and share their spiritual awakening experiences and journeys with us. How exciting, right? Okay, so I'm Candace. If this is the first time we're meeting, I'm a light and shiny person, spiritual being, all together here. And today we have, waiting for her to come on, but we have April Smiles. She's a spiritual teacher, advisor, coach, a mom. Hi, Eunice. So we're just waiting for her to come on. And in the meantime, I hope you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? Because I have these earphones in, so I'm kind of trying it. They're gonna die soon too, so that's so yeah. And before April comes over, she. Okay, good, perfect. Okay, April actually, when I was on when I was on I think it was last week, I was talking about waking up with Kandy and said anybody who's willing and able and wants to share their awakening story, please come and DM me. Just let's do it. I would love to hear. And April Smiles came in my DMs and she was like, I want to share my story. So I'm really excited for this for sure. Okay, so April, go ahead and if you can request it, or I think I could do it. Let's see. One moment, please. Are you here? Oh. Is it working? Is it going? I don't know. I see something. Holla!
Got it. Oh, interesting. Is it work? Hi, April!
Hi, can you see me?
I can see you. It's like spinning though in a circle. So,
Okay.
we're good. Hi, April Smiles.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're black.
I'm trying to understand the ring light. Oops. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. You and me both. I'm like, how does it work? I don't even know. Oh my gosh, it's such a pleasure to meet you in real life, not in this way. Definitely.
Me too.
I was telling everybody just a little bit about how I went on Eunice's show where she interviewed me on Empress Evolution. I think it was last week or so, and you reached out that you wanted to share your story. So I will allow you to just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then kind of, I guess, what prompted you to reach out to me, and then about your experience, your spiritual awakening, your story.
Awesome. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is April, and oh my gosh, what a journey it has been. And I will start with this. What prompted me to share the story? Because honestly, Candace, this is the first time that I'm actually sharing this story.
Wow, I love this.
Somebody said, did we plan to match together?
Oh, are you wearing red?
Mine's is more like a orange type.
Oh,
yeah.
mine's hot pink.
Okay.
But yeah, we did.
Yes, we got the pink orange going on. So no, we did not plan it.
No, it just happened, spontaneous.
Yeah. And so anyway, I was saying this is the first time of sharing this story, my own personal journey in terms of spiritual awakening. Yeah. And I was a little nervous at first, but then when I was on a live with you and Eunice, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it, because prior to that, one of my colleagues, she has this YouTube channel. It's called Wondrous Woman's Virtual Talk.
Ooh, okay.
And so she asked if I would be one of the speakers. She wanted to interview me.
Mhm.
And we, so my career is with Zumba Fitness, if you guys have heard of that.
Yeah.
And so she's in India. She and I both train people to become Zumba fitness instructors. So we work for the man that created Zumba. Okay. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, side note. But she asked if I would talk about mindfulness and my shifting over to this mindfulness journey. So
Mm.
I'm saying that to say because, and this happened maybe a couple weeks ago. So things were just kind of unfolding, and I was like, you know what? I did this, and I was super nervous with hers because she didn't want to talk about Zumba. Now I can talk about Zumba. That's my job.
Right.
I can talk about, dance and how it makes you feel and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But when you're asking me now about my own personal journey with, as far as spirituality and mindfulness, then it's like,
I know. I know. It's kind of like where do I begin, or like what am I gonna say something that's gonna be like, huh? What? And
yeah,
not yeah, yeah,
yeah.
right. Okay. Okay.
So it's interesting because most people know me as April Zumba, April Smile Zumba. In Zumba world, I'm just known as April Smiles, the trainer for Zumba. And I was always saying to myself, yeah, but that does not define me. That's just a part of me. And it's helped to mold me and shape me into this personal development, this personal growth, this evolution, Empress Evolution. And by the
Totally.
way, I have to say that, when I saw Empress Evolution on Lucy Davis's live on YouTube, it said Empress Evolution 1111. My life path number is 11.
Ooh, oh, it is.
Mm-hmm,
Oh,
mm-hmm.
we have the same
So,
11 situation going down. Ooh, okay. Can't wait to hear about your 11 journey too.
so, oh my gosh, Candace, it's just like so much. I feel like it's just like so much that's just bottled up. And some of it came out in my interview for the Women's History with my colleague. Some of it came
Mhm.
out. And I'm like forever grateful for just the opportunity to grow and evolve and just be who I truly am. We always talk about, being authentically you and unapologetically you.
Yeah.
And it's so true because never before have I felt so free and having this
Mm.
liberty to speak. My throat chakra was very much closed. Um, I guess I'm an extrovert, which is crazy because I never spoke. Um, I probably started getting more into my throat chakra and speaking a little more when I turned 30.
Oh,
So that
wow.
was a while ago.
Okay.
But not too long ago, right? So you figure my whole journey, the way that I express is through writing. So I've written, my
Mm.
mom used to buy me journals. I would say my first journal was probably 8 years old. And that,
Wow.
yeah. So, and she was like, April, just, she's like, if you feeling like the inspiration to just write. Oh, my friend Lenormand is on. Oh my gosh. Hi, Lenore.
Hi, Lenorma.
So, sorry. So
Love it.
yeah, so this whole writing journey has been with me since I was young. And my mom even made a book. I think when I graduated college, she made all my poems into a book. So all of my poetry back then was because that's the best way for me to express. It was always about peace, love, and this
Oh,
world is so cold. Let's just have peace. Let's just be love. It was always like that, even back then, right, Ken? So I'm
and when
like,
you were like 8 years old.
yeah, yeah. I, I
Wow.
look back at my mom had some of my journals, and I have so many journals now. So
Oh
like I
my
said, it carries
God.
through into now. And I have my
Yeah.
writing. I have my book that I started based on this journey, and it's it's there's so much in me that needed to come out, and I did a lot of it when I was younger because going back to that, I wasn't talking much.
Mm.
I really didn't say too much. I was that shy, introverted person that even on college, people didn't even know who I was. That's how bad it
Wow.
was.
Oh my gosh. But that's okay. I mean, hey, that's just how you
Yeah.
were in that
Yeah.
place. You were so just in that space of mm, inter, oh, I can't think of the word, but like introspective.
Yeah.
More like introspective. Yeah. But look what you created through that. You know, you had that. Well, do you still, I don't know, maybe you'll say, maybe I'm like jumping around, like, do you still journal? Like, how is it now that your throat chakra is so, you know, activated? But anywho, I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, that's okay. So I, you know, it was a lot of my not speaking was because of concern for the other person. I was careful in, okay, if I say this, is this going to offend this person? I was always extra, I would say overly careful in how this person may feel if I say something, because I had a lot in me. I mean, again, we talking about when I was younger and just talking about world peace back then. Feeling it, I didn't know what empath was, obviously, back then. So feeling everything and being sensitive to everything.
Wow.
So and I was just quiet. And some people had taken that to be, okay, well, she must be arrogant. You know, she just thinks, you know how that can be, it can be interpreted in many different ways. So
she's
because
snotty, or she thinks she's better than everybody or something. Yeah, for sure.
So I was like, well, that's not me. That's not the case. I just don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So,
and you know what's so crazy though? Sorry, your intention, I'm sure, was not that when you're gonna speak, it's going to offend people because you got something to say you're gonna call this person out and you're gonna tell them the harsh truth. It wasn't even probably about that, but you were just so afraid of like the worst case scenario of that fear of that happening, because you know, of you being an empath, that feeling of, you know, that's intense. Yeah, definitely. And being so young. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it was this whole thing of, I just want everybody to be good. I just want everybody to be happy. I wrote that in my poems too. You know, it's so much writing. It's like, it's just ridiculous. And I still do it now. Just not as much as I would like to, but the writing is there. This is still how I best express. I just started getting into doing reels, the little 15-second reels on my Instagram. That's new. Usually I just type it up, right? And because that's me. I love words. I love to play with words. I love the beauty of, you know, words and their meanings. I love it. And going along. And so not only that, I have a love for dance. I've been dancing since I was 4. So you figure the writing, the dancing, and the teaching. I've been teaching. I taught at the college level. So it was working in academic advising and teaching college level classes. So intro to education, diversity in education, the whole freshman seminar 100 class. I loved college because with academic advising, that was my emphasis with my master's degree in education. It was on higher education, but with academic advising. So I always wanted to go into academic advising because I wanted to help those college students that were like me. We didn't have a clue as far as what we want to do. So I got into that and then realized that I'm just a teacher. Naturally, I'm a teacher. So, you know, all of this is unfolding. I would say not in my undergraduate program. My undergraduate program, I was still exploring. Graduate program, that's where I started to be like, okay, you really love teaching. And on top of that, I was on different dance teams. I was captain of the dance team in undergrad. When I was in grad school, we had there was a professional dance team for not the NBA for basketball, but the minor league under that. Audition for that, was on the dance team for that. Dance is also my way of expressing too. So you got the writing and you have the dance. So you give me writing and you give me dance, we good to go.
It's so expressive. It's so expressive. You're so artistic and so creative. And that's, you know, it's so interesting too, because when you talk about how you've been so connected to dance, right, ever since, and you really have been a teacher. I mean, look, even looking at your poems, right, and you're saying, oh, I just want love and people to come together. Like, that's if someone reads that, you're helping them, you're teaching them your wisdom, even if
Mm-hmm.
you're 8 years old or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now look what you are, a teacher now, you do dance now. Like, you literally, you know how they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or what's your life purpose? Or how are you the best healer or teacher?
Mm-hmm.
What did you want to do when you were little? Like, what were your passions were when you're younger? And you have that now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that is really
Mm-hmm.
extraordinary. You have
Mm-hmm.
followed that path. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, amazing.
It's
Okay,
yeah, it's so
love it.
amazing, Kat, because when I look back on it, I'm like, oh wow, I did do that. I did the dancing, I did the teaching, and
So
just
cool.
yeah, to be able to, and I would always talk about it at the instructor trainings. So the trainings for people to become, helping them to become a good instructor, I'd always bring my own personal story into it. And that was nerve-wracking because I never saw myself presenting,
Mm.
in front of 60 people in one training. The next training, the next day, 60 people, different group, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
the whole thing with presenting is like, hi, Tai Chi guy. That's my other friend. I met him at Zumba
Oh,
at a conference.
cute.
Anyway,
Hi. I love
but
it.
yeah, so it it's amazing how these, and just speaking in general, it's just amazing how these experiences, how it contributes to your whole growth, and
Mm.
I'm so grateful for it, and I feel this need to and desire to share more, not because, oh, I just want to tell my story. It's because there is a story, and we all have a story. Everybody should share their story because, all of our experiences, we've learned from it, we grow from it.
And there's
And
wisdom there. There's
yeah,
wisdom in your experiences,
yeah.
and resonance too. This is the whole
Hmm.
point of why I like to do this, because other people listening to your story can find a remembrance,
Hmm.
resonance with you,
Hmm.
familiarity, and
Hmm.
they can relate.
Hmm.
It really helps us sharing together.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
you're
it's
so right.
beautiful. Yeah, I can say when you
Hmm.
said that on the live with Eunice, I was just like, you know what? I shouldn't be afraid. I shouldn't hesitate because my story has not been put out there like that. And I shouldn't be blocking this because I know that it's going to have some type of impact. And not only that, me sharing it is going to have an impact on me as well.
Exactly, exactly. I know, girl. I'm telling you, like, I was pushed to do this, to create, or just have a platform to do this, right? And I was so nervous. I was like, no, 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 I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm like, but look, I know for me doing it, I'm so nervous and I don't know what I'm doing, but I do it. It helps me so much,
Hmm.
helps me. It helps the people who are on the other side, helps you, helps
Hmm.
everybody watching. It's a win-win-win. Exactly. You just grow from the
Hmm.
experiences. And the point is that you just do it.
Yeah.
You're getting that gut intuition of just like, go for it, go for
Hmm.
it. And you just got to do it no matter what it looks like. It's
Hmm.
okay, because what matters is the action.
Hmm.
That's what matters.
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely,
anyhow,
absolutely. And it feels good to be able to just, and I'm going to put this out here. It feels good to be able to just be vulnerable. I have my
mm,
one mentor. I love her dearly. One mentor and friend, Myra. She talked to me about vulnerability, and I was just like, no, because I would hold everything in. You talking about being vulnerable. You're talking about me being open and putting myself out there. That vulnerability of, and that fear of, okay, well, what if people take it this way? What if they react that way? And, just by me being vulnerable, you're asking
yeah.
me to be open. Don't ask me to do that.
Terrifying. It's terrifying. Go ahead, just open your heart and just let this.
Yeah.
That's it. Leave.
Just,
Go ahead.
yeah, just open your heart and just be open, be free to just, have all of this where, you never know who's going to do what or say what, but just be open, be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And she said to me, I remember this was like maybe about a few years ago when she said it to me, and she said, April, you may not really see it now, and it may be something where you're thinking, okay, where I'm thinking that she's just like telling me this, and I'm just like, no. She basically was saying, you may be resisting now, but she's like, I guarantee once you start to do it and you start to put yourself in that vulnerable state, she's like, it's going to be amazing and it's going to open up so much more for you. And she was right.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right? Kind of,
How,
because, yeah.
okay. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm like, how did you hear her words? And we're like, no, no. How did you go from that to where you are now? But what was the beginning, like that beginning spark? You're like, okay, how was it to take that first leap, like that first step? Because that's hard for people to even. It's hard to put yourself out there. I don't know. Yeah.
It's a challenge. And it wasn't until just a couple of close relationships I had, I just decided to just let them know how I really feel about them, and just saying, hey, you know what? I really do love you. I care about you. And that's hard for me, because I can do it in saying things, and just like writing little things like, hey, just let you know I'm thinking about you. But you're saying for me to say, okay, I love you.
like in person. Right?
Yeah, in person. That's because my dad didn't do that. My mom.
I was just gonna ask.
My mom was always just, as far as the hugs, give me a kiss on the cheek. So she did that, but it wasn't much as far as the whole verbally putting out there, hey, I love you, I'm here for you. It was just this unsaid truth or unsaid fact that, well, I'm here for you, I love you. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was just the same as my our relationship with my mom, my sisters and I. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, my parents actually. So it's awkward and weird to say I love you. Now it's been so much time, but yeah, you just I can totally relate. Yeah.
Especially if you're not used to it and you've grown up in that environment. And not that I love my mom dearly. I mean, she loved me and my brother so very much. It's just that I'm just used to, I'll type up something or I'll show you, by doing these things for you. But being vulnerable and saying, hey, listen, I am here for you. I think you're an amazing person. And it shouldn't be hard for us to be complimenting. That's just a side note as far as complimenting one another. I think for me, it was just a thing of, okay, well, I don't want them to so again, we're in our own head. So if I don't want them to think, if I say, oh my God, you're so amazing, I don't want them to think like, okay, well, why is she saying that? You see, so the mental confusion and chaos with all of that. And it's just like, and that's what happened. So I was like, I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to put myself out there. And guess what? I realized that with any relationship, being vulnerable, there's always going to be some hurt. These are part of the emotions that we go through. That's just what's going to happen. It's also part of the biggest thing. It's a part of the life experiences, right? That's what happens. And I try to tell people that because, I have a lot of people, they always come to me. I love to listen, love to listen. So people would always come to me and say, April, well, I just don't want to be hurt again. This person did this and this person took advantage. I totally understand all of that. I get it. And then that time frame where I was being more vulnerable with some of my closest friends, it just hit me. It clicked. It was like, but you know what? It's a possibility that you'll get hurt this time. And then the next time. And then the next time. These are all part of the life experiences. And so why neglect that? Why reject that or try to resist that? Because it can also be a beautiful experience. It definitely be a lesson learned, right? But then that hurt or what, should that happen, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but should that happen, you can look back and say, okay, well, this has been a beautiful experience because of X, Y, and Z. I learned this. And that was for you, for that life experience at that particular moment. And and this is the thing, we put up the walls and everything because we don't want to get hurt. I, of all people, know that for sure. I always put up walls because I wanted to stay my introverted self. I didn't want people to know about me and what I'm thinking and feeling, especially with this whole spiritual awakening journey. You know,
Mm.
I would just keep to myself. And so I didn't want people to know about that. I wanted to just keep it all in and just keep myself. I'm very private. And again,
Yeah.
that vulnerability and teaching me that it's like I'm feeling that okay. Like I feel it from the spirit guys. Like it's okay, April. That's the voices I always get. April, it's okay.
Mhm.
You're good. It's really okay. I'm just like,
Okay.
right?
Okay, I'm gonna go for it then. Yeah, well, because that's your biggest thing. You're saying is like in your head, this overthinking.
Yeah.
So they're just like, you're okay. It's
Mhm.
fine. Nobody
Mhm.
cares.
Mhm.
Nobody cares. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not. Wow.
Mhm.
It's just so interesting though, like that the when your friend brought up the vulnerability thing, even though you were so like no, there's something that you're like it was like your higher self or
Mhm.
your was saying, all right, this is the nugget that we needed,
Mhm.
so we're gonna like as the opportunities arise,
Mhm.
we're gonna sprinkle in something like held in your mind in that
Mhm.
moment, even though it was
Mhm.
something no like I don't know how to explain
Mhm.
it, but it's so that's very beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
It was like resisting it as she first told it to me because I'm like, yeah, right. But then there was the voice and probably higher self saying, nah, this what you about to enter into. This is putting
Yeah.
you this is putting you further on that path,
They've
you
been
know, of
knowing
that
all the
awakening.
time.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. So then
Yeah.
when did your awakening start for you? It sounds like it didn't just happen. Maybe
Mhm.
I don't know. It's been a while because you didn't want to like talk to anybody about it and stuff.
Yeah, I would say probably 2017 I started because I was a Christian, you know, going to
Mm.
non-denomination. I've gone to Baptist churches. I've gone then transitioned into non-denominational churches, and you know everything was just focused on Christ, Lord and Savior, and all of that because that's just what I grew up with.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until 2017, to be honest with you, there was just this feeling inside, like, and I would have to say that that feeling it didn't just happen in 2017. I felt that it was just there. I feel like it started to come out more as I started to be
Mm.
exposed to other congregations, you know, and other churches,
Okay.
right? Kind of so, and I'm not, and by all means, not knocking anybody as far as religion or anything like that, but there has always been this notion of, well, why do we have to have all these different religions? Why does it have to be people, you know, conforming to this and that? Why can't we just be free to
Mm.
just believe and feel that feeling? That feeling for me was, I just want to be free and I just want people to be at peace. I just want to love on
Yeah.
people and I want us to love on each other without this whole notion of, well, you don't believe this and, you know, this is going to happen to you because of this and that. And it's like, but we're all
Ooh.
human. You got fingers, I got fingers. You have eyes, I have eyes. So this is humanity. And what about the fact that we are connected and we should be connected even more so now than ever before? I mean, I'm saying even years back. I'm not saying specifically now, Candace, but like back then, that was my thought, and I was just like, so in like 2017, it started to just come up more for me. The
Yeah.
thoughts were always there, and I can
Hmm.
say that because of my poetry and how I was feeling. But
Hmm. Definitely.
yeah, but I couldn't, I didn't know exactly what it was. And it wasn't until I got older. So 2017 was my 40th year.
Oh, oh, okay.
Hmm.
Wow.
So, and
That
that's
was a big
funny.
one then. Okay.
Yeah, that was a huge one. And so much opened up. And the reason why I bring up 2017 is because I did hold a lot in, like a lot.
And you know this because of what all came out. You were
Hmm.
like, oh my gosh, it was just, okay, whoa, okay, all right.
There was just so much, it was just like this. It was just so much opening up quickly. I was like, wait a minute, why is this happening? But why is this happening? And I'm like, oh my gosh, well, all this time, it's like my whole persona as far as who I am has just been dormant. It didn't come out. there was no coming out of who I am and the spiritual being that I am and have always been, but just focused on the programming and the conditioning that we're so used to, right? And so I'm just like, I'm like, so I noticed things, and at the time I was with my husband. I'm divorced now, but there was so much that came out that I noticed that it's been going on for quite some time. But I'm so simple. Meaning I like the simple things in life. I just want peace. I don't want conflict or anything like that. So cool. I'm easygoing. Everybody happy, everybody good. But I never really did the inner work. I would say the inner work started happening my 40th, but there was a lot of built up frustration and anger and hurt and struggle because I was battling this whole, all right, but you're married. I have my 2 sons. This is what you've gotten yourself into.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm like, okay, oh my God, well then what will people think? But what will they think if,
oh my God,
I do this and I make this decision? I'm like, well, nope, I'm not going to make that decision. I'll just hold it all in. All of this that's building up and bubbling inside of me as far as this whole, spiritual, like these spiritual nuggets that's been coming. I'm like, yeah, well, okay. Yeah.
Oh, close back up. Let me close back up. It's too much right now. Yeah.
And then I was like, but so when my older friends, they were like, oh, April, wait till you hit 40. When you hit 30 is when I started to open up more as far as speaking. And they were like, well, April, just wait till you hit 40. It's a whole nother, and it's what they were saying. It's a whole nother, different ball game. You're really want to get into this whole notion of really just not really caring as much as you did in a good way, not caring so much as far as what people think. Right. So, and I never focus on, because then when I get in debates with some of my friends that we are like minds, it's usually like, well, April, why is it, have to be about age? So when I say 40, I don't really mean age. I'm talking about the life phases that we go through. So 40, that stage right there, that life phase in 2017, it was huge, because I was just like, wait a minute, I got all this wrong, in a sense of, I was not really paying attention to what was going on inside of me, which was pressing down, suppression of the fact that I really am just all about love. I just want everybody to love. That's just it. Why can't we just love? Like, so how
that's what you've been saying.
Right. So I'm like, why am I hesitant and fearing the fact of saying that and what I really feel and believe? Why am I holding that in? I just want people to love. Why can't we just love? Why does it have to be drama? I am not a drama person. That's why I kept to myself too, because I don't want any drama. Don't want to cause anything. Don't want to stir anything up. But yet at the same time, it's like, okay, so why did we get into this whole little argument? Why did this person feel this way? Because I'm just like, okay, sorry, didn't mean to hurt you or anything like that. That's never my intention, because I love you. But then people, we're all at our different stages, obviously, when it comes to emotions and what we've gone through, in our past and growing up and everything. So I'm not knocking anybody. It's, for me, I just was like, I just want to love. I just want to share love and spread love. That's it. It's really simple.
Yeah, it is. But it's interesting how you've always, you felt that way. You always been saying that. And then you realize, oh my gosh, that's been not in my forefront of my mind. And what's been so heavy on top of me to, this fear that's been like holding me back. So that's a lot to like unlayer, especially when you don't want to go, nobody wants to go through it. Nobody wants to go through the mess, go through the shadow work, look at these hard, difficult things that we've suppressed for our whole lives. But it forces you to do it one way or another. You're forced to look at it. And I mean, it's all up to you, but anywho, okay, go on.
Yeah.
Continue.
So, I'm one to always process things later on. So I
Mm.
process like much later. It's like those that are closest to me, they're like, okay, we got to give April some time because she on a like as I don't know my functioning in terms of all that and processing, because really I just want to be about love and all of that. But then when certain things come up, it's like, okay, wait a minute. So this happened. How do I really feel about that? Because I'm so used to
Mm.
just being like, okay, well, I want that person to feel good. I want this person to feel good. And, I just don't pay attention to how I really feel about it.
Yeah.
hmm hmm And yeah, and so of course it has its disadvantages with doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
so in that journey, as far as in 2017, that's I was going into the processing. I'm looking back at it and I'm like, wait a minute. This has been, so much that I never paid attention to it. Like this was very overwhelming, but I just kind of let it just go by the wayside, you know,
Yeah.
um, in relationships, as far as with friends or what have you. You have some people and I've learned this, especially in my career, you find
Mm-hmm.
out really people's, true colors and everything. And I'm just like, well, yeah, that person did that, but they totally took advantage, when I process,
Yeah.
right?
So it all, yeah. And so hold on. So your process, how long of it? Let's say like 2 weeks, 6 months,
It
two
can go
years, maybe.
it can go for like weeks, and sometimes,
Okay.
yeah, sometimes even months, Candace. My What I would say the biggest thing was my marriage, though, because I was married for, oh my gosh, 16 16.
16
Mm-hmm.
years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it wasn't until into the 15th year that I really started processing. So for that particular situation, as I mean, obviously that
Yeah.
that took a while.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And oh my gosh, when I started peeling it all back and just like
All
really
the layers.
diving in, yeah,
Hmm.
I was like, oh shit. Like, oh my gosh, April, like really? And I took responsibility, though. I took responsibility for making the decisions, allowing things to, um, take place during all that time. I took responsibility for the fact that I really wasn't ready. I took responsibility
Mm.
for realizing that in order for me to have any type of positive relationship, I got to do better as far as the communication. Hey, Shawnee,
Yes.
Zumba lady.
Oh, hi.
So taking that responsibility, and I don't have any problem doing that, So for me, I'm not the type where it's like, okay, well, they did that and they did that, and I should have. I have to look at it and be like, all right, where did the conflict happen? What happened here? And okay, did I do something?
Mm.
And this is what, and then the communication piece, that was never there for me. One, because I really didn't say much. I told you, put me on there as far as dancing and doing my writing, then we're good.
Yeah.
But
But then you didn't have the experience to like know, yeah, you're just like, okay, or let it just go and not really saying much about it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have to talk when I'm dancing except for when I'm teaching the choreography, but that's different.
Yeah. It's just like steps.
Yeah, I'm giving you, okay, 4 counts of 8 of this particular move. This is how we're going to do this. This is what you do with your arms, yada, yada, yada. But the when it comes to conversations and
Yeah.
communicating with people, I didn't really do that. I was so quiet all the way up until my 30th celebration. And my 30th celebration, I started to open up a little more,
Hmm.
So when I'm processing and I'm looking back at as far as relationships, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, April, well, how are you going to have a very good, healthy, positive relationship if the communication is not there? And
Right.
that was the biggest thing for me, Kim. So I'm like, okay, and being in a relationship with someone, whether it's, marriage, love relationship, partner, uh, sibling, parent to child, We can go on and on. In friendship, any type of relationship, in order for it to be healthy, positive, there needs to be this communication. There needs to be this open communication, which is what I talk about now, kind of, overall, because I'm going off my own personal experiences. Because I'm like, okay, says the woman who didn't say, didn't say anything.
Right? You see, there's so many people that are very shy and introverted and really like nervous and scared, have a lot of fear with speaking up. And maybe they feel like it will never happen for them. But you and so many other people are the example that it can. You can't, look, it happens. You're meant to shine.
And that's the other thing. So speaking of shine, then it was always this whole thing of, nope, April, you just stay in the then you better not do that. Don't sit out there and just shine. Don't do that, because now people are going to think this and that. Then they're really going to think you're arrogant. So again, that self-talk, sabotage, self-sabotage, all that stuff. So when I started to present and to do presentations and actually even perform at our annual conventions, I mean, I would perform in front of hundreds of people. It was a nervous wreck. Yeah, nervous wreck. But, then it was still the whole notion of, simmer it down, girl. Don't show them all of you. Yeah, don't be too much. Don't show them all of you. You just got to pull back. You got to pull back at least halfway. This is what I'm telling myself.
Man. Yep. That self-talk just just limited beliefs beyond limited beliefs.
And then when you tell yourself that so much, then you believe that, because then you're like, okay, well, are you really even good enough to be with the team of people that train people to become instructors? Are you even good enough for that?
Right.
Because look, you're going up on stage, you're hesitating. I mean, I dance and everything. I do the work, I perform it, but I don't perform it in the way that I would say I do now. Because there was that self-sabotage. There was that whole notion of, girl, you don't really say much. And, people don't even know who you are. Even when I was even being in that limelight like that and educating people. Yes, Shawnee said, I know this so well. Yes, she knows. But even being in the spotlight in that way, it was like, well, wait a minute. Who are you to think that you need to be in the spotlight? And then you look at other people. I look at my other colleagues. They love being in the spotlight. So they're just on and, out there and all of that. And me, I'm like, no, I can't do that. So there's that I can't. Not good enough. There's just so many layers to all of this kind of stuff, so imagine somebody like me that's just holding it all in and, putting that burden on myself where I just keep piling up all of that. And yet here is this spiritual awakening journey that I'm already on, but I'm suppressing that.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, for me, and I think, you can agree, when you're nudged to do something and you're just not listening, you just push it down, not listening, it gets harder, louder, until this slap in the face happens to force you to look at it. I mean, look, this has happened within us as individuals, and now it's happening in the outer world as we are seeing it right now as well. So, so within, so without. It's very interesting. But see, so it just got, it was like, nope, we're popping out. We're coming out.
And I was really forced, the grand force was my mom would have been 66 February 25th of this year. She's Pisces. Now she passed away April of last year. And it was unexpected. Yeah. So there was trauma there because it involved my uncle and attacking her. It's just so much stuff, Candace. And again, this is me putting myself out there because people don't even know. They just know that, pretty much that she passed. But there was so much trauma there with that. And my mom lived for me and my brother, my younger brother. He's 2 years behind me. And I went dark. I went into I learned about the dark night of the soul because one of my counselors had asked me if I knew about it. So of course I started researching. She sent me information.
Wow, that's pretty cool. of her to ask that, prompt that. Okay.
Yep. So it was cool to have this counselor, but again, things happen for a reason. Like I was assigned to her, and it just so happened that it just really worked out in terms of us vibing, because I needed that counseling, obviously, because I never had time to grieve. I was doing everything on my own. I was taking care of all this stuff as far as funeral, and then you in the shutdown as far as restrictions. There's so many different variables going on. Not to mention, my mother has physically left this realm, unexpectedly. She was 65. And I went dark. I went into depression. I went to alcohol. I just gained weight. I stopped being active. I just was like, let me just be with you, because I can't take this. How could your brother do this to you? So again, going back, there's the anger, there's the resentment, there's the guilt because I wasn't there, actually physically there when this happened. So much stuff. And anyway, I'm saying that to say that it forced me to really just be like, listen, you either going to, die, physically, or you're going to live and you're going to carry out this mission. And it became so clear when she passed. My mother was very loving. She was the person that I could always call and talk to. We could have these spiritual talks. We can talk about, because that was the other thing too. We were talking about stuff in the Bible, but then we always felt that something was missing, all of that stuff. We talk about all that. And I didn't have that anymore, not having her here physically. And it felt like there was such a huge hole there and gap. And it was just like, what is the point of living? People are just so, their mindset is just so messed up. So now I'm going back to the poetry when I was young and all of that. I'm like, gosh, this world, even though I know that, Mother Earth is the beauty of it, all of that, I was just hurting. I was in so much pain. I was alone. I didn't have anyone. Yeah. And then on top of that, because I was not having that opportunity to really grieve and go through the whole healing process. And I became a certified yoga instructor 2018. So my mom was still here. So I did my 200 hour. Last year, towards the end of last year, I was like, you know what? Let me go for the 300 hours. So I went into Kundalini yoga. So I'm still in the training.
Ooh,
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so curious. Oh my God, we could talk so much about that. Okay.
And it's so crazy, right, Kenz? Because, so again, forcing me to go to really dive in, because Kundalini, I was like, nah, I don't like snakes. No. And let me tell you this interesting story. So for years in my dreams, there will be snakes. They will be all on the floor. I'd be in my bedroom. They'd be on the floor. They'd be in the bed with me. But I was afraid because I'm afraid of snakes. But they never attacked. Now when I look back on it, they never attacked. And
what do you think? Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. So, I'm just like so enthralled with your story. Okay.
So and I was like, because I'm like, why does this program it's called Spiritual Warrior with Yoga Farm, Ithaca, and they're based in New York. Why does this keep popping up on my Instagram? You know how stuff pops up on the Instagram? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, Kundalini. I'm like, but I kept staying away from this. And I'm like, let me look up really what Kundalini is about. The coiling of the snake and uncoiling it and all of that, the awakening of your higher self. So I'm like, I got to get into this program, right? I'm like, there's something that everybody heals. Yes. And everybody heals in different ways. For me, I felt that this was going to be what I needed for my healing process.
Yeah.
And not that I didn't love the counselor or anything like that, but there was still something missing. And I felt it was that. I needed that. And then I learned more about the snake because, I'm just like, well, I don't know why snakes are created here. What's the purpose of them? I'm like, that's horrible. Like, they're just so sneaky and sly. You know how they say, what they say, like sly like a snake be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have the bad rap for sure.
Yeah. And I'm just like, but now, because I've been told differently, especially in the religion and everything. Okay. Exactly. I'm just going to keep it real. I just felt, and then I'm
the
like,
serpent of the devil or
yeah. Oh, this is, evil. Snakes are evil.
Right.
And I'm like, no, no, no. But something's not, I feel like when I started looking at the information sessions for this particular 300-hour certification with Kundalini, I'm like, no, 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 something's off. Something's off. I got to do some more
Mm.
research. And I'm one to quickly go into Pinterest. Pinterest is my therapy too.
I love Pinterest too.
Yes.
So good. Okay.
Yeah. And now I have my own jewelry collection that I sell as far as that, because the snakes are here, you know.
Look at you
So, and it's the
transition from
tiger eye. Yep. Tiger eye mala beads here.
protection and everything.
Yep.
Hold you are really somebody who came from your deepest fears in more than one way that you were faced with, that you had nightmares, or like, and then you came out of it. You look like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. It's beautiful. Wow. That's
And when
amazing.
you think about it, as far as the snake and the shedding that they do, so I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, so I'm putting all this together, doing my processing, which which nowadays, Candace, is part of the inner work. Is for me doing that inner work, and I'm like, okay, if you're shedding, you are definitely shedding. You're shedding that old energy, so that you can finally, cleanse yourself and to prepare for that new energy. You still trying to hold on to the dead skin, which is the old energy. I'm still trying to hold on to it. One of my friends, she was like, April, you're trying to be the old you, and you're trying to dabble back in between the two. Like, I'm still trying to be into the old me and this evolved me. And she was like, you can't be, it's not going to work. She was like, you have to like shed that. And she used another word, but I'm saying as far as shedding, you have to shed that. And I was just like, yeah, I know. I'm just like, I'm not ready to do that. You asking me to like, I mean, this is everything that I've grown up to and known, familiar with, comfortable, but not comfortable. But that was the so-called comfort that I thought that, was going to protect me in this, and that. And then you got the unknown. And I was like, okay, so you're asking me to, be in this new energy, but oh my gosh, like, what is that going to look like? Is that going to scare people? Because honestly, guys, I found out from a lot of people that they were like, April, you're just kind of intimidating. I'm like, what?
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. And wow.
So then
That's interesting to come from like not speaking and, and then to being like, oh, just intimidating. And
yeah. And so it's like, so even with not speaking, people felt intimidated. And I realized that was just my energy. That's the energy. That's me, but intimidated because they don't know what to do with my energy. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. I feel bad. I don't want people to, feel that way. So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, maybe you should suppress your energy some, girl.
Oh man. The
right?
cycle comes back again.
Oh, right. It's coming around again. I'm just like, nope. Hold on. Been there, done that. And you know what? And I'm going to say that there's 3 things that I've learned along this journey. One is to let go of expectations. When you have expectations, you're setting yourself up for failure. So you expect the person to respond this way because you would respond that way in a loving way. You're expecting that person to do that. Then when they don't, then you're like, then, anxiety, worry, all that comes. Whereas if we don't have the expectations, then you're not inviting those emotions that really get you stressed out. So one, I've learned to let go of the expectations, because I'm always like, well, I'm just being chill and calm and cool. Okay, we can talk about it. If there's a conflict, let's just talk about it. And I'm cool and calm, and then when the other person just flips out still and still wants the drama, I'm like, why are you yelling? And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, I expect you to not yell. I expect you to, let's have this good, calm, peaceful conversation. Done with that. Let go of the expectations, April. That's the first one. Second one is get out of the role of playing victim. I can't believe that my uncle did this to my mom. I can't believe that, certain people that I love, I thought that I loved. And when this happened with my mom, I don't hear from them. I can't believe this happened and that happened. And, look what happened to me. I don't have my mother, playing that victim role. If you continue to put yourself in the victim role, then you miss out on being in that role of victor.
100%.
So I'm like, I don't want to be a victim. I'm tired of, I don't want to play that. And I'm like, that just doesn't feel good. It feels good to be a victor of my own life, because I'm the creator of my own reality, et cetera, et cetera. And then the third thing I learned was to come back to love. You always come back to love, because when you come back to love and truly feel that, truly be with it, truly like meditate on it, all of that, when you do that and you think love. So I'm going to think with a loving mind and a loving heart. When I do that, oh man, it feels good.
Yeah. And then it's like water off a duck's back if somebody doesn't respond to you the way that you wanted to. It's just like, you weren't even thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't even matter, but maybe before you were just like, oh my gosh, I haven't responded. It's been 2 weeks. But now it's like, don't even matter. Yeah. It's okay.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. You just like ooze the love.
Yeah.
And that warmth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing like that energy.
It's nothing like that when you always come back to love. Because I wouldn't come back to it. My mom passed, then her mother passed January of this year, my grandmother. So that was even more devastating, Candace. But it was good in a sense of, it's like, okay, April, now you're gonna keep reverting and digressing and going back, or they say like backsliding. You gonna keep doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you going to say, okay, because I got to see her before she passed. They let me in to see her one last time. And I was like, my mother embodied love. Like, I have this whole poem on the colors of love, because that's what my mother was. She was just all these different colors of love. And every single time I look at that poem, Colors of Love, I see her, because she embodied all of it, like all of it. Candace, oh my gosh, she talked to everyone. She was totally opposite of me. She talked to everybody. Everybody loved my mom. Everybody in Zumba community, anybody that came into contact with her, she would carry a conversation, and they would just say, your mom is so beautiful. I was like, I know, because I'm saying I know as in inside and out, because inside she just had this vibrancy of it's just a matter of just all of the colors, whatever, unicorn, all of it was just all love. That was my mother. And I'm like, okay, April, you feel the same way. Come back to love. When you come back to love, then you are staying in that whole state of spiritual bliss. Yeah, neutrality and spiritual bliss. I love that, Candace. Yeah, the neutrality, and not getting so upset. Like, it's crazy how things just opened up. Like, I started having these interviews with people, and it's just like, wait a minute. Okay, now you're doing interviews, April. So now you really got to be on it. You don't want to be fake or anything like that. You want to just be yourself. So just be yourself, love on people, be loving. And I know now that everything I do is with pure, loving intentions. It's never been anything, hasn't been anything intentional to do any malice to anyone, anything like that. I don't want to hurt anybody. I just want to love on people and be the example so that they can do the same thing. Let's create this whole ripple effect of love, love, love.
That's it.
That's it.
And that's what being that light pillar, pillar of light, that light worker in the crowd. Because just like your mom, so beautiful, by the way. That's so, I would love to read that poem if you ever share it. When she walks into a room, I just saw a vision of just this big, pure light.
Yep.
So you cannot help but be affected by her energy and by her being in the room, you know? And it's beautiful because she's now there guiding you, guiding us all, helping you to remember, come back to love.
I feel that's her all the time. When I meditate, Kenz, I'm, again, with this spiritual awakening journey, I'm always hearing that. I feel like she is just guiding me. I literally feel that she's guiding me, and she's comforting me and solacing me, and just wrapping her arms around me. And it's like, okay, April, you know that she's not physically here, but she is loving on you like crazy. She did it
Beautiful.
so much. She did it so much physically here, but now, in her pure light form. And I'm like, how can I sit up here and be all in my feelings, be all thinking about myself and how I feel about how this was done and what happened, with her and all of that? How can I do that when I know what she was about and I know it's the same for me? I know that this is bigger than me. That's
Yeah.
what I feel like I'm getting from like and I feel like there's just, I honestly, because I had a Reiki healing last year in Trinidad. That was my first Reiki healing in January. And crazy thing is that I was like, yeah, I'm going to come because my chakras are all out of balance and all of that. And she did the Reiki healing. She was like, April, you're already made whole. She was like, you're already like pure light. I was like, really? You sure?
Checking in for real.
I was like, huh?
Wow.
I was like, but I came here because I felt, broken. I had this going on. I got my divorce. I'm devastated. I feel like I did this wrong and that wrong and all that. She was like, you're just not stepping into your power.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
It
Okay.
makes sense. Yes. Yes. And again, so many different experiences, and I can go on and on. I did this whole awakening and this, because then I was like, well, ooh, I don't want to say stepping into my higher self. That's going to sound arrogant. Once again, the voices.
Yeah.
But it's very minor now. Yeah, because now I can just be like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to shoo you away because guess what? Stepping into my higher self means stepping into life as far as of bliss, of joy, of peace, true, unexplainable love in a way that has
Yeah.
never been ever felt or experienced ever before. So I'm going to go in
Yeah.
that route. You can keep doing your little comments and all that and saying
It
whatever
don't
to me,
matter.
but yeah.
Because you know what? It's their own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Their own ego stuff, and it doesn't even matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's none of your business what they're saying in their head and their judgments
Mm-hmm.
on you,
Mm-hmm.
because you are doing what you need to do,
Yeah.
and you're like stepping into your power, stepping into your higher self,
Mm-hmm.
stepping into love each and every day, each and every moment. Because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you said, it's still there, but it's not so loud and it doesn't overpower your whole life and hold you back. You're
Mm-hmm.
just like, you hear it and you're like, no. And
Mm-hmm.
then you just go about doing your time.
Yeah.
Think,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not like it disappears. I mean, it's the same for me as for you. Little bits there, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't think that ever really goes away because that's your ego.
Yeah.
You just become aware of it, and you
Mm-hmm.
become aware of what you need to do and how to trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, it's that
wow.
awareness. Awareness is so
Yes,
key. So
yes,
it's like the awareness heightens as we continue to flow along that path that we're
yeah.
we're called, to be on. So
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stay and flow with that because I like this heightening of awareness because it's
Yeah.
helping me because I'm learning. I'm like, okay, oh, I know what that is. That's just a voice telling me. Like when I was reached out to you as far as the interview, I'm like, girl, what did you just do? And then I was just like, no, you did what you're supposed to be doing.
And I
And
said,
it's
thank
okay.
you. It's perfectly okay. I'm so glad
Yeah.
because good. I'm so glad that you followed that. Like I said, it's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
It's difficult, because we all have it, and
Mm-hmm.
some are louder than others.
Mm-hmm.
So good. I'm glad you're here, and I know it's been an hour.
Yeah.
And um, anything you want to like say, or any special things coming up in your world that people should be aware of?
Uh,
Or I put your handle here so they can find you.
yes,
And
I have. Yes. So if they go to the link in my bio, they'll
okay.
see I'm just starting to do private one-on-one like soulful sessions that will involve like breathing
Oh, I love
techniques
it.
and just affirmations. So I just launched that. That's in the link in there. There's also my schedule for me teaching the breathe and flow classes. I have my breathe and flow classes where it's yoga inspired, it's dance inspired, it's mindfulness and meditation. It's like a hybrid.
Ooh. You mixed
Yeah.
it. You created your own April Smile thing.
Yeah.
I love
Yes.
it. I love
Yes.
it. That's
So,
what it's about.
yeah.
That's what it's about.
Hmm.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
and so all these things are just coming up, and I'm like, you know what? And again, I was hesitant. I'm like, I'm not going to really put it out there and I don't. I'm still working on that, but it's there, So I'm like, okay, I need to talk about it more. Let me put it out there so that people
And I
can see.
asked you. I don't
Yeah.
think I really asked anybody that direct question, really. So it's
Oh, wow.
interesting that I asked you. Yeah.
See?
Okay.
Yes. So they can find everything as far as the link in my bio, and there's just so much that's coming up that I'm just going to be starting in the month of April. So, I just want people to just feel the love. I want people to feel that inspiration. I want people to feel, my desire is for people to feel that inspiration, to feel, that feeling of who they really are, going within, doing the inner work. Like, that is my goal. The goal and the calling for me is to bring people together. I once things opens up, once they open up, I just have this vision of just bringing people together. I already have in my mind how it would flow, what it would look like throughout the day, and we'll just get everybody together. And there's so much love and healing and conversations. The biggest thing is the conversations. That's my whole goal in gathering people, masses of people together, to have these conversations so we can be free and open to express ourselves. So.
Oh, so good. I love it. I love it. I'll go to, I mean, I know you're gonna have your little centers of healing and empowerment. Like, oh, I can totally see it. And I'm excited to witness it and be a part of it. I hope,
Yes.
I'll travel all the way to New York.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Kandy. I just plan on going to different places. So, it's like, that's what I want to do. Just want to go to different places, reach out to people like, hey, let's get together. Let's have these conversations. Let's move a little bit, not in crazy dance, but just for you to be free to just have this rhythmic flow, whatever it looks like for you.
Like a little stretching, whatever.
Yep.
You have so much drive and energy. I really admire that so much. Like, you have such a clear vision, and that's honestly, I mean, I feel that's not very common. That's a rare thing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
And it's so much more clearer now, Candice, now that I've done the inner work. I desire for everybody that's out there, for you guys to just do that inner work. It's the inner work. It's very challenging for a lot of us. It wasn't for me, because I love doing inner work. I like going within, for me. That was not the challenge. It was just, my self-sabotage and everything. But I always love to do the inner work. When we do that inner work, when I started doing more of it, the vision and the calling became even more clear.
Yeah. So, because you're removing those layers that were on top of you.
Yep. And shedding that old energy so I can be in this new skin, this new energy, like the Kundalini as far as the snake.
Yeah.
And awakening.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my gosh. And happy early birthday as well. Good. How old are you going to be? I don't know if you want to tell everybody.
No, I don't mind at all, Ken. So Monday the 29th, I'll be the big 4-4. And I actually am doing a live on my birthday for this whole MTF experience, Me Totally Free. That's going to be live at 12:30 on Monday.
That's amazing. Okay. Live 12:30. And you'll probably post it up and everything. I'll share it for sure.
Yep.
44 too. You're like, this is gonna be a big one.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. Oh, Candice, thank you so much. This was so. It was breath, fresh air, just beautiful.
I'm so glad, April. Thank you so much for reaching out to me and opening up and being your authentic self and living with integrity.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you again so much. I know.
Thank you.
My mom said, happy birthday. You look 30, right?
Thank you, Mom. Thank you.
Well, have a beautiful night, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
Bye.